What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Path of the Network Marketer with yours truly, Ronnie Cruz. It is day 7, episode 7. So we've made it 1 week into this new podcasting adventure. Thank you all for tuning in. Today, we're going to talk about posting strategies, all right? Posting strategies on the different social platforms. And I'm not talking about like content. We'll deal with content in another episode. But really, I want to discuss frequency, right? Because again, this is one of those things that you have to make a mental shift with when you are changing over from being a casual user of social media to becoming somebody who is more purposeful and intentional, to becoming somebody who is a content creator. Of course, the primary thing that I want you guys to understand is that consistency is the most important ingredient in this game, right? Consistency is the only way you're going to hit critical mass with your social media efforts, and it's a fundamental that goes the same with any strategy in network marketing, whether you're doing something online or offline. You have to have consistency of activity for a long period of time in order for you to develop that momentum in your business that we all seek out. So make sure you're posting consistently, and not just once in a while, not just when you're out on the town with your family or doing some activity that's outside of your norm. Again, this comes with shifting that mindset to being more intentional and purposeful with your social media activities, right? So that's number one, key ingredient, consistency in your activity. Now, the different platforms that I'm going to talk about today are the ones that I engage in: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and of course this podcast. And each one of these platforms are going to have a little bit different strategies in terms of frequency and posting. But generally, if you can post once a day on these platforms, that's going to really do you a lot of good. And again, it's the consistency in the long term that helps you number one, not just develop that critical mass and audience and following and engagement, but also helps you develop a voice, right? If you're doing something regularly, you're going to develop a certain level of proficiency, and that's what really, when it comes to projecting an image and a persona on social media, that's part of the game, right? That's part of the game. That's what developing a voice means. It's developing that presence, that consistency. You develop that proficiency so that you're super comfortable and that you can really shine through. The real character, the real essence of who you are starts to really shine through because you're comfortable and you're proficient in this thing, right? In posting and in sharing whatever it is that you want to share, right? So at least once a day on all these platforms. Now, what I have found is, okay, so let's actually take it back to the different individuals that I've heard, that I've kind of read up on or listened to and that have given advice on how often you should post. Gary Vee being one of them, Russell Brunson another one, and a handful of other people have said, if they weren't referencing each other, I'm referencing them, right? Like, but in those circles, right, in the marketing circles and the business world circles, they many have said posting at least 3 times a day on these platforms for the short form, right? Especially for like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I always forget that one because it's the one that I'm really the newest at, so it's always kind of in the back of my mind. And even with YouTube now that they're doing the short form, they're like, all experts encourage you to post at least 3 times a day. Now that's a lot, right? Like that's a lot for any one individual to tackle if you're not doing this full time. If you have like a full-time job, career outside of your network marketing business, it can be tough to juggle, posting that often and that many posts every day on social media, on multiple social media. So one thing I would advise is, if that seems to be a limitation for you, maybe focus on one particular social media platform that you really enjoy and that you have fun with, right? I know there are people that are on TikTok who don't look on Instagram. I know there are people that follow people on Instagram that don't engage in Facebook anymore. So really, whatever floats your boat, there's no one right answer. You want to do this so that it's it challenges you enough to make you to stretch you out of your comfort zone, but you don't want to make it too challenging so that you can't continue it in the long term, right? Because that's again one of the most important things is consistency in the game. So if you have to limit the number of social media platforms, pick the one that you love the best, and just run with that, and post as many times a day as you can. 2 to 3 would be on average. Now, what I found with Facebook and TikTok in particular is that those platforms love at least 3 posts a day, right? 3 posts a day really works well on that. So like I of late, in the last couple of weeks, I hadn't been posting as often as I used to. Earlier this summer, maybe like the first half of the summer, I was posting 3 times a day, and it was doing very well. So, well, with things coming up, and then now the new podcast, I'm having I'm having to kind of scale back on some other things in order to make room for new things. So I would say if you can manage it, posting a reel. Actually, let me backtrack. Not just regular posts, but reels, like short form videos, is what's really popular right now. So posting at least 3 times a day on Facebook and TikTok. Instagram, in my experience in the last couple of months, well, first of all, Instagram has changed its algorithm. Well, I think they all have, but you can really tell the difference on Instagram. Like once a month at least, there's a new update that changes the algorithm and that changes engagement. But anyways, I have found that when I started posting 3 times a day on Instagram, it didn't like it as much as the other 2 platforms. So I've scaled back to maybe 1 or 2 reels a day on Instagram. At least once a day on Instagram, I think would suffice. Now for YouTube, if you're doing long form, I haven't done the short form stuff on YouTube yet, but if you're doing long form, I actually was doing 1 video a day on YouTube until about day 70, so a little bit over a month, right? I actually did a 1 video a day challenge, and my intention was to do a video a day for an entire year, and develop it that way. But again, things come up, my workload started to get crazy, so I'm not as consistent daily with that. I still post in the long form, but I'm not posting daily right now. However, if you are listening to this, you can find the video version of today's episode. I'm starting to record the podcast as videos as well, so you can go to Path of the Network Marketer with Ronnie Cruz on YouTube, and you can find this particular episode. I will do my best moving forward from here on out to record a video with each episode of the podcast, so then I have a video every day for my YouTube. But as of right now, I got up to like 70. I may start doing short form videos on there as well. I mean, because if I have them, I have them. Why not share them on YouTube as well, right? And here's the thing with the short form videos. When I record one, I can pretty much share them on all different platforms, and that's the other thing, right? Each different social media platform does have its differences in terms of audience, right? And yes, I mean, like you can maybe argue that it's an age demographic, but not really, right? Like I think it has I think more to do with how new and how recent each platform is. Obviously, Facebook and YouTube are kind of your OGs. Well, YouTube is the OG, and then Facebook. In terms of social media, Facebook is the OG, and then Instagram, and then the timeline moves forward with TikTok. So I think because of the like how old each particular platform is, the demographic definitely, or the audience. I don't want to say demographic because demographic runs the gamut on all these platforms, but the audiences in terms of what content they're looking for are a little different. So I tend to find, even if I by sharing and posting the same content on each platform, I attract a different audience on each one. So that's what I enjoy. I mean, like for me, if I'm going to record on, I might as well post on as many of them as possible to capture as many different audiences as possible. So okay, so where was I? So on Facebook, TikTok, 3 times a day if you can, if not more. Instagram, I would say 1 to 2 a day. And with YouTube, if you're up for it, posting 1 long form video a day, or just share 1 short form video a day, the YouTube Shorts. Again, I haven't dove in. That's horrible. I haven't dove into YouTube Shorts yet, but I may start doing that, and I'll let you guys know on this podcast what I find out. Now, as far as for the podcast, obviously, if you've been following, we're 1 week in. My intention for at least 100 days is to record one a day, if not for an entire year. I know, it seems daunting, but again, for me, it's a matter of the consistency develops that skill set. It develops that proficiency. It develops the audience. Like, people can start finding more and more of your content. The more content you have out there, the better chances of people following it, right? Like, you can't argue with those numbers. And so with the podcast, yeah, I do want to post at least one short episode a day. And again, they're not going to be any more than 10 to 15 minutes, and usually less than that. So that's kind of my posting strategy, guys. I'll dive more into this in a later episode, but hopefully that helps for now, and that gives you an idea where to start from. Again, the main key ingredient is consistency for a long period of time. If you can manage posting multiple times a day, I would encourage that. If you can't, then maybe hone in and focus on one particular platform that you enjoy and be consistent in that, right? And see what happens. And then that's the thing too, right? I did say this earlier. There's no one right answer. This is just one big grand experiment. So, be willing to try new things, be willing to experiment and see what works for you in particular, because, I'm learning this thing as I go as well. And why not try that? The main thing is, you'll never figure it out. You'll never learn if you don't try. So that's my message for today. If you haven't yet followed or subscribed to this podcast, go ahead and follow. Leave a rating and a review wherever ratings and reviews are possible. That will really help us get discovered and get found on the searches. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. More coming from me. Well, that's it for today, guys. So, take care. Be well, be safe. I'll see you in the next episode.